If you feel like you've had your trust broken, if you feel like you've been betrayed, lied to, and had your heart broken, and you don't know how to trust again, then this video is for you, because I want to share with you how you can open up again and how you can trust again, so that you don't have to live your life actually being closed off to the people that might be good for you, just because someone in the past has done something unacceptable and hurt you. And so now you walk around consistently having your heart closed, not opening to the beauty of life and to relationships that you might attract into your experience. So if you guys know, this is just a style of content that I paint as I talk, because it helps me to get into a flow state and it gives you guys better content. So today I'm sharing with you the things that I've learned about trust, because I've also had my trust broken multiple times, and despite that I still choose to trust, because what I realized is that just because one person in the past has done something, this does not define the entirety of the human population. You know, the person in the past that hurt you, or people, or whoever, you have been a match to those relationships based on the past version of you. And those relationships are not a definition of all the relationships in the world, even if something has happened multiple times. Because if you really think about this, right, every single relationship that you've had, it has been there because it has somehow taught you something. Every single time you've maybe been lied to or cheated or abandoned, it maybe taught you to trust yourself more. It maybe taught you that you can be stronger. Right? And so that one person who did something to you does not represent the entirety of the human population. And I know you don't want to think like this. You don't want to say, oh yes, but how can I trust again? Because you're scared. And I know it's scary to open up. It's scary to open your heart because you're exposing yourself to hurt. But here is a trick. If you never allow yourself to experience the hurt, if you never try again, you will never know. You will never even allow the opportunity for life to bring you something else. Because what I realized is that trust is a choice. It's not something you make, it's not something you do because you do it unconsciously. We choose to trust consciously. You know, because I've gone through a lot in this life, and also I've realized that I've had people do all kinds of things, but what I realized is that it was not the people's fault necessarily. It was because I already knew. Most often you already know what's going to happen, you just don't really want to look at it. Sometimes people that cheat on us, people that lie to us, we kind of already know it's not going to go well. Like sometimes our gut already tells us, we just don't listen. So what I invite you to consider is that every single time you've been hurt or cheated or abandoned, or you feel like you couldn't trust, sometimes it's just about trusting yourself. It's not so much trusting the other person, because to be honest with you, we cannot control other people. And I had this conversation with a friend that I've been speaking to recently, and he said, you know, I'm not sure that I really know you. And I said, you know what? You can't really know people. Because even when you think you know someone, what you're knowing is the idea you have of them in your head. What you think you know is that the things that you've seen from them, the parts you've seen from them. But people grow and people change. And so the person that you think you know for the last whatever number of years may not be actually the person that they will be in a month or two. And sometimes we get so lost in trying to get to know someone, trying to be right about the fact that they're a good human being, just to have them go and do something that's completely unacceptable, and to have that idea shattered. So the only thing you can do, and the way you can actually learn to trust that will help you, is try to just trust yourself, and not even try to trust other people. Literally, you don't need to trust other people if you know how to trust yourself. Because when you know how to trust yourself, when you know how to listen to your intuition and your gut, you don't care what people do, because you understand that every single time that maybe someone did something wrong or bad, if you listened to your intuition, then somehow it has served a purpose. Either it helped you grow, either it helped you learn. And this has been true for me, and it probably has been true for you too, right? Most of that stuff that has gone south, it was because you did not listen to your intuition. You did not establish boundaries. You did not speak your truth. And because of those choices, you ended up being in a position where other people, quote unquote, hurt you. They betrayed your trust. Now you cannot trust because you didn't trust yourself, and now you project it onto other people. This is absolutely not standing. And because you're now projected onto other people, you think that you cannot trust everyone else. But it's not that you cannot trust everyone else. It's that you have to learn, this is so awkward. You have to learn to trust yourself, because once you understand that all those choices that you've made, because listen, all the relationships are two-sided. This is gonna sound maybe bad, but don't take this personally, or I mean, you can take it personally, or maybe do take it personally, right? There's two sides to every relationship, and it's all here to benefit you. If you've been cheated on or whatever, probably their loss, right? You don't want someone who's gonna do that to you anyways, so they just vibrated themselves out of your life. So maybe it's just their loss, you know? And so another thing is not just trusting yourself, but trusting life, because sometimes we feel like we cannot trust people because one, we don't trust ourselves, but two, we don't trust life. Because if you think about it, we cannot control people or events or circumstances, but if you can trust life, if you can trust that everything is unfolding for your highest good and you can use it for your benefit, if you can really see every single situation in your life as an opportunity to learn and grow and become stronger and wiser, and maybe not as naive, because sometimes we just get duped because we're naive, okay? Been there, done that, okay? Been there, done that, but once again, sometimes if you get duped because you've been naive, it's still you. It's not that you can't trust the other person. You didn't trust yourself to set that boundary, to see the person's truth. I'm sorry, I'm getting fired up again. I cannot, okay? I'm an Aries, it comes out. You have to trust yourself to be here for you, to set the boundary and to listen to your gut, because your gut always tells you when something's off. We all know it, we can all smell it. The question is, do we listen to it? And sometimes when we don't listen to our gut, we then go and we blame other people. And I've had also a lot of challenging circumstances where I thought I can trust someone because of the idea I had built of them in my brain, primarily because of social media and, you know, the whatever. But the point is that, like, I've built an idea of this person in my head, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna trust this person because I've seen other things about them and I just thought I can trust them. But I trusted them above myself. I let them make decisions for me instead of making my own decisions. And that for me was just a very painful learning lesson, that maybe you should just make your own decisions and don't always look for someone else to decide for you. Because again, it's not that I can't trust other people. It's that you have to learn to trust yourself more. And then other people, even if it comes to them making decisions, them helping you, them telling you what to do, you can look at that as data, as input, and say, okay, I see this. Do you agree with it? How do you feel about it? When you can learn this, it will help you to open up your heart, because it doesn't make sense to walk around the earth with your heart closed. And no matter how many times I've literally fallen on the floor and cried because of the things that people did, I always get back up and I always keep going and I always choose to open my heart. But here's the but. You learn from each of those things. They make you stronger. And so if you're still here on this video, it means you want to trust. It means you know within yourself that every single person who has duped you or mistaken you in the past is not a reflection of the entirety of the human race. Not only that, because the world is like a mirror, every single person in the past has been a reflection of the old version of you. So if you are able to learn that lesson, chances are you won't be given the same situations to repeat it. Because life will only give you the situations that are bad or painful and repetitive if you have not learned the damn lesson that it's trying to teach you. And once you learn that lesson, you will then stop attracting those circumstances into your life. Now, honey, sweetie, babe, words coming out of my mouth, that lesson is not to close your heart. That is not the lesson. Please do not think that the lesson of someone cheating on you is to never date again, okay? That's not the lesson. That's not what the world is trying to teach you. Maybe it's just trying to teach you to have higher standards, trust your intuition, get to know someone first. Maybe that person was actually just, you deserve better. Okay, maybe someone else wants to come into your life and that person needed to vibrate out in a very traumatic way. It can happen. And sometimes it's not even that you have to learn a specific lesson or learn anything specific. Sometimes it's literally just what needs to happen for reasons beyond our awareness. Like, we don't always know what needs to happen. We don't always know the reason why we have to go through certain situations. But again, that does not mean close your heart. That does not mean stop trusting people. And again, I'm not just saying this like, yeah, but I'm blabbing my mouth. Like, I've done this so many times, and I don't know if I'm being naive and foolish for this, but I will continue to live this way, because if you close your heart and you never let people into your life, like, that's just boring. You're just by yourself, which, I mean, that part, I do spend a lot of time by myself and kind of have a hard time letting people in. But it's not because I don't trust people. It's just because I'm very picky and I have high standards. Maybe because of the stuff that I've learned from in the past, but even that, it's not even so much the qualities of people, it's just your own intuition. And so if you can find a way in which that experience has served you, if you can find a way in which it has benefited you, and if you can fully feel all of your feelings, get angry if you have to, scream if you have to, cry if you have to, punch a pillow if you have to, okay? Do what you have to. Get all of those emotions out. And then, once you can move that experience through your body, you can start to heal. And you can stop expecting your future to be determined by your past. Because honestly, it's not, okay? Your future is not determined by your past. Like, that's not how inventions are made. Someone did not invent the light bulb because they said, oh, I failed 1,000 times, so I will keep failing. No, you fail, you maybe go through a baby tantrum, you cry, you throw a tantrum, you want to quit, you take a break, you come back up. Because your past does not determine your future. So just because you've been treated a certain way in the past, or you feel like you cannot trust, or you feel like you cannot open up to people, it's not because you cannot. It's because you just don't want to be hurt again, and it's okay. It's okay to not want to be hurt. It's okay to not want to go through that. None of us do. But if you can learn to see that it was not all bad, okay? You can learn from this. And if you can be willing to be hurt again, because you understand that even if you do get hurt, most often it's because of your expectations that you have placed on the other person. And I've learned this also, to not expect nothing. Expect nothing from anyone. Not in a jaded kind of way. Be fully present. This is, by the way, what I do that I'm just sharing with you that I think is helpful, because when you're fully present and you're fully open and you're fully loving with the person, but you have no expectations, firstly, you don't cling to them because you do not give an F. You're here one day, they don't make you happy, you're gone the next. And also because you let them be themselves. Because when we try to control people, when we try to think, oh my God, this person betrayed me, oh my God, I cannot trust, it's because you're trying to control the other person. We can't do that, ever. Sometimes we want to, but we can't do that. And so it doesn't make sense to even try. So when you can love them for who they are, not expect anything. Simply know your standards. And if that person does not live up to your standards, okay, bye-bye. No hard feelings, because you had no expectations, except being in the present moment, and your only expectation is that you listen to yourself and you simply observe and allow life to show you what needs to happen. And which is the funny thing, sometimes we literally attract that which we expect. They have this book called Expectation Effect, which I have not listened to the whole thing, but my understanding of it is that whatever you expect, you kind of magnetize to yourself. Whatever expectations you have of the world, you end up attracting them, and you end up finding proof for the reality that you believe in. So sometimes if you feel like you've been betrayed too many times and you cannot trust, probably because, yes, it sucks that you had to go through that, but probably because you're still looking forward and you're expecting those same situations to repeat. And because you're expecting it, you're looking for proof. And because you're looking for proof, you will find that proof. It's kind of like if a wife is home and she expects her husband to be cheating, even if he's not actually cheating, she might end up finding random things to prove that reality to her, even when it's not actually true. Just because she expects it, and that's her fear. And it doesn't make sense to waste your energy living that way. So if you can allow people to be themselves, and just know that it's all here to serve you, and you can ultimately only trust your own intuition, not your fears, not whatever. And if you can learn to accept and love people for who they are, I think you'll have a much more enjoyable life experience, because I think trust is a choice. It's not something that you do because you've never been hurt before. Listen, we all been hurt, okay? This is Earth. This is Earth, okay? Part of Earth, we all gone through something. We all got burned. When you meet someone, you choose to trust them. You have a base point choice in every moment. Are you going to be someone that looks at this person and says, okay, I'm going to, by default, you default to either of two things. You either default to letting them be trustworthy until proven otherwise, or you default to them not being trustworthy until proven otherwise. Or you just observe, give each person a chance, and see what happens. Of course, you learn the red flags, okay? Always listen to the red flags, but that goes back to that thing of trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, because sometimes red flags is not so much things that people do. I mean, yes, things people do, but it's also your intuition, you know? And definitely learn from red flags, okay? Whatever those are for you, because I have sometimes learned the hard way, the red flags, you know, because I did not know them. I was very naive. And, you know, I still think that trusting is just more fun. It's not fun to go your life expecting negativity from people. Like, yeah, I mean, unless you like that kind of experience, I cannot tell you what to do. But this video is for someone who wants to trust. Like, if you actually want to open your heart, just do it. See what happens, okay? And it's always a risk. Even if you know people really well, it's still a risk, because people change and people grow. So you cannot avoid hurt by keeping your heart closed. Because even if you actually are super cautious all the time, even if you are that way and you finally meet someone like, oh my God, I can trust this person, people change. And what we perceive in other people is most likely just an idea. Just an idea. And whether or not you want to go into the world trusting them or not is ultimately your choice, but just please note that this is your choice that you're making. So when you can learn to own up and take responsibility for the choices that you're making, you can also take responsibility for the outcomes of those choices, and as a result, you don't really get so hung up on the fact that you've been hurt by this. You look at it as a learning experience, because you understand that ultimately the choice that you've made in trusting this person and giving them your heart and also other things, it was your responsibility. It is not their responsibility to live up to that. If we place this responsibility on other people, then you're giving up your power to the other person. But it is not the other people's responsibility to live up to your expectations. Uh-oh, I ruined my painting. So maybe it's just time to drop your expectations and just let people show you who they are. Instead of expecting them to be a certain way, instead of expecting them to betray your trust, just see how they are. Just go with your gut. See how you feel. If you enjoy being around someone and they give you good vibes, enjoy it and have no expectations. Do not cling to anything. We suffer with not trusting because we cling. And we expect, but it's like, if you don't cling, if you're just there to enjoy the moment and you don't expect anything, you don't need anything from anybody, what you'll find is that life becomes so much more fun. And you don't go around expecting people to live up to certain expectations or whatever that you have of them, because you're just doing you. You're just doing you. You're not placing them on the pedestal. You're not giving them this power to hurt you. Life unfolds one step at a time with everything, with your relationships, with your life, with everything that you do. It unfolds one step at a time. Another thing is like if we struggle to trust universe, again, it's because we don't trust ourselves. You have to trust yourself enough to know that no matter what happens, no matter who does what, you will be okay. You will get yourself back up. You will be happy. You will find love again. You will find joy again, and you will keep going. Because life comes in seasons. It cannot rain all the time. It cannot be winter all the time. You will get back up again. You will find love again. And you have to know this. And when you know this, you can go into relationships not being afraid, because you trust yourself to get back up. No matter how many times life knocks you down, you know you'll get back up because you trust yourself to figure it out and to heal and to release and to process and to learn and to grow. And because you don't give responsibility to other people to make you happy. Because again, if you're going around feeling like, oh, I don't trust people, you're giving them the responsibility to make you happy. No one else should ever have that responsibility. Like, I don't give people power to make me happy or not make me happy. Yes, people do get me pissed off. Yes, sometimes I cry, but you know what? I cry about it and then I forget about it because they don't deserve to have rent in my brain to live there longer than it takes for me to move through the emotions. What that means is, people can sometimes make you sad, but ultimately once you heal it, you release it, you're back to being happy because you have the power within yourself and you have the responsibility to yourself to make yourself happy. No one's going to do it. No one person is going to walk in and suddenly fix your trust issues. It's not going to happen. That person is going to be you. When you choose to trust people, when you choose to open your heart again, and when you choose to make yourself happy. And to know that if someone betrays your trust, they just don't deserve to be in your life. Simple. They've showed you their true colors. And yes, sometimes we have to heal from things and, it's all part of it. What I do usually that helps with that is I do a lot of breath work. Like if I go through something that I feel like I cannot process, I'll go do breath work. It's just like, it's a very powerful healing ceremony that I do, honestly, as needed. I used to do a lot of it. You can talk to someone. You can just literally punch a pillow, realize your worth. And when you realize that that person is not worth the energy to occupy your present moment, they're not worth you sulking over. Literally, whatever right now you're not trusting life for, that person who betrayed your trust, are you really going to give them the power to deprive you from future happiness? Because that's what you're doing. So I hope that you stop doing that, and I hope that this video was somehow helpful for you. Just so you know, this is a pretty brand new type of making videos for me while I'm painting, but I feel like it gives you guys better content because I'm much more in flow. And I started it with sharing stories because, again, life unfolds one step at a time. And to be honest with you, sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing. I just do what I feel like is the next step for me, and life kind of takes me where life is meant to take me. And I think it's a lot like this with relationships too. You just one step at a time. Don't expect anything from them. Let them show you who they are. And trust life enough to know that every single thing is here for you. It's here to show you more of yourself. It's here to help you grow. It's here to help you become stronger, wiser, and ultimately sometimes just learn more unconditional love. Sometimes that's just the lesson, is to learn to love people anyways, despite the stuff that they've done. And again, if you cannot find it within yourself to not be angry or pissed at them, literally go punch a pillow. Go scream, go punch a pillow, go do some breath work, whatever you gotta do. Because once you get that out of yourself, you kind of find compassion for people. Because most people don't do messed up things on purpose. They do it because they don't know any better. And, we can get angry at them, but literally, sometimes you just don't know any better. And they're hurt themselves. I think there's compassion in that, but I could go on a whole another tangent. I think I'll stop talking here for this video. I hope that this was helpful for you. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. If you'd like any other topics for me to talk about. That said, sending you lots of love. I hope you got something out of this video, and I'll see you in the next one.